Automating your work in Excel using VBA macros is a great idea, but why would you spend all the time to create a macro and then have it run very slowly and inefficiently? In this video, I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on how to speed up your macro execution. So how much faster are we actually talking about here? Well, I wrote a simple macro that's going to add the values up in these three columns and put it into this total column. I'm going to show you the slow macro, which is essentially with no optimizations, and then I'll show you how much faster it runs with the optimizations. First one, it's going to run, and we're looking at 3.22 seconds. That's how long it took for the macro to basically add up all these in about 5,000 rows. Now let's do with the fast macro. 1.54 seconds. That's 109% faster, so twice as fast. Hit OK. Now, what is the actual difference? Well, let's take a look here. This is the standard macro, so you see it loops through and it adds all the individual cells. And in the fast macro, the only thing that changed was that I actually captured and disabled certain settings if they're currently enabled. So this section right here, and then at the end I basically restored the original settings. So I set screen updating to false if it's currently true. That prevents the screen from basically uploading or updating every single time a change is made. I set the calculation mode to manual, and then I reset it back to automatic. That way the sheet isn't calculating the individual cells after every change. And I changed the event state here from enable events to disable events, or make it false, which essentially pauses any other triggers that could be interrupting or slowing down your macro. And you see that just by having these three things temporarily disabled or changed to manual or false, that sped up the macro significantly. So imagine that across much more complicated macros, and if it takes 1 or 2 minutes, you can cut that time in half.